So the motorbike's failed its MOT, and the only reason it failed the MOT is I've got a leaking front fork seal there. So I'm going to attempt to change it. I did decide to take the fairing off in the end. Yeah, to save me faffing around trying to get the bolts to release the. So now I'm going to jack up the front end of the bike using this jack. I've loosened the nuts for the front wheel, so it's loose, and the pinch bolts there at the side. I don't know if you can see that very well, but the front bolt there for the wheel. So the top of the jack sort of fits into the yoke bottom there, and then I can jack it up here. Takes a while. I'm going to remove the brake calipers. I've loosened these nuts already, these bolts, sorry. Now it's not a good idea to let the calipers dangle, so just rest them on that oil can. Do the other same. I'm going to do the same on the other side now. So I've loosened the pinch bolts here, and now I'm going to extract the spindle for the front wheel, the shaft. Okay. Now there's only one spacer on a Hayabusa, so don't spend all half a day looking for something that doesn't exist. It's only on one side. Okay. Put that out the way. I'm in a position to start releasing the fork itself, and there's two bolts at the bottom of the yoke. There, 1, 2. And there's one at the top, that Allen key bolt there. Now I'm really not sure if I have to remove any of this stuff here at the top. So I'm going to leave it for now and undo those 3 and see if it'll drop out. Other than the 3 mentioned bolts, it doesn't look like there's anything else I need to loosen. It looks like it's coming out. Okay, there we have it. I think I know why I'm supposed to loosen that, because of this cap here, which I haven't loosened yet. But I wonder if it's possible to loosen that in the vise. We'll see. Maybe it has to go in again. I see why people take that yoke off, is to get this top top nut off here, but the Makita takes it off without any problems at all. So yeah, that's loose. I can take it down to the workshop now and carry on working from there. Yeah, so I just unscrewed the cap. As you can see, it's just basically unscrewed it like that and exposed the shaft. So now we get into the interesting part, which is really the purpose of making this video, because we're now actually at the point where we need some special tools, and I don't have them. So I'll drain the oil here, I think. Remove that. Let's have a look. So I've got the situation now where, yeah, they're just about, the holes line up now. The middle holes there is what we're looking at. So what I'm going to try and do then is obviously thread these bolts through and bind them together. Still hot from the grinding a little bit. But, I'm going to have to screw that in a bit. So we're getting there. That's one side. Another bolt. Screw it in on the other side. Yeah, so that's the basis of our tool here. Now, obviously these M12 bolts are going to be too thick to fit into the plastic bit on the fork, so I'm going to have to grind off the end there to make them be able to screw into the holes there, and we can basically press down on that. So that's the next thing I'm going to work on now. So essentially the ends of the M12 bolts have got to fit into that hole there. So that measure a diameter of it's 8 millimeters diameter. So if I can grind them down to about 7.5 millimeters, they should fit in there without any problems. So we're getting there, but slowly. It's going to take some time, I think, this. So this is what I've ground out now, these tapered bolts here, and they just about fit in to the hole there. So I'm going to screw them to the tool and see if I can push the rod down when it's properly screwed in place. Now, I think that will work. I'm going to tighten it up. I'm going to put some nuts on the inside though first, but that looks like it's going to work. So, yeah, let me go with that. It's quite stiff spring here, so be warned. So I've cut this little piece of metal here. Now that should fit in the slot. I'm not sure if if the slot there is wide enough, but I'm going to try it anyway and see. Now I did cut a little bit more of a slot out of there. It doesn't seem to be too big. So anyway, this is the setup I've got using the press. You don't necessarily use a press. You can obviously secure the top end somewhere and then use a jack or something to jack it up like here. But this is essentially how it works. So I wrestled with it for a bit and I managed to just squeeze the holder in there. So now I've got to essentially hold this nut here and then try and release the cap, holding it down under tension again as well, I think. Yeah, let me have a look anyway. Now I'm going to loosen the cap bolt. Yeah, no problem. Spacer. Then we need to compress it again and remove the special tool. So we'll do that. And the rod itself, can I get the rod out? I can. Yeah, let me take the rod out first. Don't forget that, let me just check. And we'll set it up exactly like that when we put it together. 11 millimeters. So what I'm going to do here, before I remove the special tool, I'm just going to loosen this bolt off a bit. 14 millimeters it is. This nut, sorry. Just make it a bit more easy. Okay, I think that should be enough. Then jack it again. Oh shit, don't do this at home, guys. Otherwise you might end up breaking something. Anyway, that's out. Spacer can come out. Luckily it looks like not too much damage done. Just move it over to the bench. Sorry, to the other side of the shop. And then I'm going to remove the spring. Yeah. Okay, the thicker end seems to be at the bottom. There for now. And now I think this should come apart, if I'm not mistaken. It does indeed. Okay. Edge of the seals come out. Try and loosen the seal itself. No, easy enough. Take that ring out and give it a bit of a clean. Now there are various ways of pushing the seal in, but being as though I've got a press, I might as well make use of it. Don't forget the O-ring that was underneath the seal itself. So this is just about the right diameter. Just goes in nice and evenly. Look. Let's just check it's in far enough. Yeah, it's in far enough so I can get the snap ring in there. There we go. Simple as that. Now then, the dust cover, but I'll put that on the other part of the fork, the inner tube, and then thread it in. I'll put some plenty of oil around there. Yeah, put plenty of lubrication on your seal, on the inside of your seal as well. That's it. I did have the cable tie holding the rod up there, but I'm going to put it on afterwards, so I took it off. I'm going to once again just put plenty of oil, fork oil, to lubricate it down. And then, very, very slowly, ease it in, very. Okay. Now I want to put the cable on, mounting everything. Other ways to do this. I did have a think, this is actually the third special tool that you need, which I didn't bother creating. But another thing you could do is find another similar nut, weld the nut onto a rod and screw it on the top there, and you can pull it out like so. That's the other way of doing this. Yeah, I just need to make sure that that's not going to get in the way. Now, I've poured some oil in this already, and I've let it sit for about 10 minutes now. And how I'm going to check the oil level is I've marked on this punch thing here, that's exactly 9.5 centimetres from there to the tip of this. And it needs to be exactly 9.5 centimetres to the top. And if I put it in there, yeah, it's just touching the top of the oil. So I know I'm just about right. Yeah, you can just see the tip slightly wet there. So I've pumped the rod a few times. This has been standing now for about an hour. I've just checked the level and it's to the millimetre, the recommended. So I'm going to start putting things back together. Now I did manage to get the special tool in there. I didn't film it because I didn't have 3 pairs of hands. But what I'm going to do is adjust the top of the nut there, because I did put it at the top. So I'm just going to turn that to 11 till it's 11 millimetres high, like so. I don't think I'll fill all of it. Yeah, so that's 11 millimetres high now. Don't forget the rod goes down there. Okay, and then the cap. Tighten the cap. Find the right spanners. Okay, don't need to over tighten this. Okay, then we need to remove this. Bit awkward sometimes. Special tool. And release the jack, and we're almost there. So all I need to do now is undo this special tool and tighten down the cap bolt, and we're there. So I'll torque that up when putting it in the bike. Before I sign off on this video, I want to just speak a little bit about the special tools I've made here. Now, this is the main bit. This is the to hold the insert, the nylon or plastic insert down. Now, these two bits on the outside, I bought them from the hardware store for €4.99 each, plus 2 bolts, M12. I think they were 60mm long, and 4 nuts. They came to a grand total of about €3.50, something like that. The tool works extremely well, I have to say. Yeah, possibly even better than the ones you can buy from the shops at Suzuki or whatever. Yeah, so that's the first one. The second bit is the slot for holding the nut and the rod high. Again, that's made of 1.5mm thick steel. The slot I've cut there is actually 10mm wide, but realistically you're probably better off looking at about 8mm wide. 7 or 8mm will probably be a better width to cut that off. You can also make it slightly curved. It kind of helps getting it in. That would help as well. That's literally just a bit of scrap metal that I had hanging around. Cost me almost nothing. Yeah. The only other thing I would say about that is you probably could get away with 1mm thick steel, but obviously be a bit more tight with your tolerances on that. Yeah, the next bit as well is the wire there. That was used for holding the inner rod up. Now there's other ways to do this. One of the other ways I thought about doing this was to get the same size nut that screws onto the top of the rod, and then weld it to a thin rod so you can just pull the inner rod up. That would also work. Also, they're just simply screwdrivers and a lever for removing the seals and the dust caps. Again, I put some tape around them just to protect them from scratching the fork tubes. Yeah, the next thing I want to discuss as well is the press. You don't actually need a press to do this job. There are other ways to doing it. Now, if you really haven't got anything else, I mean, you could secure the tool somewhere in a wall or something. I'm talking about the big tool here. You drill a hole in a wall or something like that, put it in there and hold it that way, and then jack it up from the bottom. But failing all that as well, once you've made this tool, is you can have somebody get an assistant to have somebody push it down. You can do it with the body weight will be enough to push to force the spring of the fork down, and then you can just pull up the inner tube and then slot the other tube in there. So you don't need a press or anything like that. The job is possible without the press. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this. I'm pretty pleased with the results. As I say, the tools work quite well. Yeah, I made mistakes. Took me a lot longer to do the first one than it did the second one. That's the second one you're seeing now. But yeah, for the tools themselves, they cost about €200 online, and I did it for what, £13.99, something like that. Job done. So that's the bike fitted back together. New fork seals and fork dust covers in place on both sides. Yeah, I've taken it for a run, the bike as well. I did tighten the suspension up a little bit, made the front end a little bit stiffer, and it handles so much better, I have to say. It gives me so much more confidence with the front end. Yeah, so I look forward into the next major trips that I do. That concludes this video then anyway, so if you learnt anything or you like the video, then please hit like, and if you've not subscribed to the channel for more tips like this, then please do. Yeah, and until the next video, when I get onto the projects of the cars, I think. Until then, cheerio.